Oh man, this altcoin is printing money for me right now. I'm going to share with you the exact trades we're taking and how they're delivering incredible results despite a day here where Bitcoin is moving to the downside, down 0.8%. I just landed back in London here. You guys know I've been traveling in Dubai. We've been making insane profits in our VIP group. If you guys are not in there, I don't know what you're waiting for. Take a look at this, guys. We took this Ren trade just over a day ago, just as I was getting prepared to go to the airport, posted the alert to our VIPs. This has hit peak profits of 79% and obliterated all our price targets, which were set at 35% in just one day. That's just one example. Let's say that was an anomaly. Well, take a look at this one. This TWT trade hit 26% on our take profits and peak profits of 40%, plus Ocean, a trade we took just over a week ago, has already delivered 23.47%. If you guys know my content, you've been watching for a long time, you know I'm all about sustainable, slow, profitable trades. And that's what we're delivering in jars.uk/TG. The spaces are filling up fast. If you're interested, get in there right away. Now, we need to understand what's going on, because we just had a jobs figure come in today. As I was landing back in, we had this jobs figure come in soft. Now, what that means is that the traditional markets are rallying. So if we take a look at the traditional markets here, straight away, you can see that the NASDAQ, 0.146%. So the NASDAQ is ripping, right? 1.5%, S&P ripping 1.2%, Dow Jones nearly 1% up. This is because this was expected to come in at 170,000 new jobs. It came in at 150 instead. That's down from 297,000. So half of the number of jobs created in September the previous month. Unemployment rate rose to the highest in 3.9%, highest level since January 2022. So this is showing that the rate hikes are starting to deliver and break the back of the labor market. And remember, this was one of the main canary in the coal mine, the bellwether that Jerome Powell was looking for. That coupled with what we had the other day in terms of the FOMC press conference, where they spoke very dovishly. Powell even, increased his outlook for the economy as well. This is getting people starting to feel quite positive, and this is now why we're seeing the best week of 2023 in the traditional market. But hang on a second. When we're getting a decoupling, where the traditional markets over the last couple of weeks were not moving, and yet Bitcoin was not moving, so wouldn't it make sense now that Bitcoin would move to the downside when traditional markets are moving? We're seeing that. We're not seeing the normal movement, right? You would expect if the NASDAQ's having a strong day, up 1.5%, maybe Bitcoin was moving 2%, 2.5%. No, Bitcoin's falling about 1% here. And so we check in on the Bitcoin, the dollar index. What's going on in the dollar index? Dollar index, big move to the downside, losing its EMA ribbon, big candlestick here. This is a major blow for the dollar index. Remember, the dollar index is inversely correlated to Bitcoin normally, but Bitcoin's still falling. So what we're seeing here is, even though risk is rotating on in the market, Bitcoin is cooling off. Okay, this is very confusing because Bitcoin has this duality. I need everybody to understand this. Bitcoin can and does act like a risk-on asset. So when the NASDAQ is moving, when dollar index is down, Bitcoin can move. But that's not why Bitcoin was moving in this recent last few weeks. Bitcoin was moving because it was acting like gold. It was acting as a defensive place for people to put their money in when the rest of the market was a little bit worried about some of the tensions. So this is why you need to look at Bitcoin and say, okay, maybe Bitcoin's just getting some of that flushing out. Those that were jumping into it from a defensive perspective are starting to flush it out. So you can see here, we could be moving down here into the EMA ribbon. I've had this line drawn for a while. You can see we hit resistance at my horizontal line of 36.1. And the next line starts to come in, horizontal support at 32.6. But that's also the start of the EMA ribbon. So do not be surprised to see this want to come back into this move here. Something like this before trying its next move. It might even want to go deeper into the EMA ribbon. Remember, it's not even back tested 30 yet. We've not back tested 30 since our big move. We broke through 30 here and off we went and we consolidated here. We've not had any cooling off, at least call off to 32.6. Even better, I know it's going to sound horrible to you guys, maybe come down and call off here from these candlesticks. See these wicks here, dating back to July of this year? At least come and test these at 31.5. Cool? In the middle of the EMA ribbon, come and test the EMA ribbon, test it nice and in the middle here, and then bounce a mountain attack at 36, and then head towards 38. That's the longer term healthier view. But right now, Bitcoin's just shown some strength, okay? It was consolidating in an upward channel, which we were seeing. but now we're starting to see a little bit of a cooling off. So let's jump down to the 4 hourly. And the main precursor of whether we're going to get that daily correction, the daily chart I just showed you, is if we lose our 4 hourly EMA ribbon. Now to date, ever since that move happened and we broke through 30 and we moved to the upside here, look at this consolidation. It consolidated in an upward trend, riding that 4 hourly EMA ribbon, and at no point were we at risk of losing it. But if you look over the last couple of candlesticks here, as I was flying, you guys can see we started to test that EMA ribbon. We came right to the depths of it here. It looks like we almost want to lose it. And if we do lose it, if we get a body candle close, a 4 hourly candle close below this EMA ribbon, then I start to continue to call for this cooling off into the daily EMA ribbon, which will bring you down to that level there at 32.5. At those levels, that's where I want to be nibbling. Remember, I always talk about buying from positions of strength. What does that mean? It means not buying when the candles are green. It means not buying when fear and greed index is super greedy, but buying when people start panicking, getting a little bit jittery. And that's exactly what that represents right there. So if we see that cooling off, if we get a couple of red days here moving us to the downside, that's where I'll be looking to add to my long-term bags. Now, of course, I'm still going to be trading. I'm going to be trading crazy altcoins because as you guys can see, regardless of what Bitcoin's doing, we're making bank. We're making bank in that group. We're making crazy profits on some of these trades. And you guys need to be in there if you want to take advantage of some of those trades. Okay, so we just do UK/TG. Once those spaces are filled up, guys, there's no promise I'm ever going to open it up again. I want that group to be small and controlled, right? I'm happy to ask people to leave that group if they're not going to take responsibility, if they're not serious about trading, if they don't take this seriously. There's no time for that. There's plenty of other signal groups. I only created this group because you guys were asking for it. I was sharing free updates like this. You guys knew I was trading. I'd share some of my profits occasionally, and you guys wanted to know how I did it. I set up the TA course, ijaz.uk/TA, so you can see exactly how I do my TA. But that still wasn't enough, right? You guys wanted to see exactly how do I enter my trades. So now I'm sharing that. And if you're in the VIP group, you're seeing the exact patterns I'm using, how I enter the trades, and you're seeing that it's profitable. I don't need to be sharing this with you guys. So if I notice that people are not taking responsibility, I'll just ask you politely to leave, right? So I want to keep that nice and controlled in that group. If you want to be part of it, ijaz.uk/TG. Bitcoin getting a bit of a calling off here, but it's perfectly normal. I'd rather it call off now, go touch 32.5, even touch 30 if you want to. No problem. I'll add some more before then going for its next big move. That's all good. It's going to allow the RSI to reset. It's going to allow this price action to come test its EMA ribbon on the weekly chart, guys. I don't even want to show you the weekly chart. Look at that. You have plenty of room to call off here. The EMA ribbon starts on the weekly chart, although we don't want it to go there, at 28.7. You could fall to 28.7 and you don't need to bat an eyelid. You could lose the EMA ribbon at 27.7, right? So plenty of room here for Bitcoin. Even if it wanted to come down to this horizontal test, fine. If it wanted to test some of the peaks from these highs here where we're struggling around that 32 level, fine. That's all healthy. Higher highs, higher lows like I teach in the TA course. That's all good. Couple that with the fact that Mr. Sam Bankman-Fried, guys, he's officially guilty on all 7 accounts and could be facing a lot of time in prison, up to 115 years, but definitely likely to be decades. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this update live, direct, as the news is coming out. If you appreciate it, let me know in the comments, share the video with people that you think will appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.